Let's talk about a name that's been flying under the radar, but might just sneak into the Lakers' plans this season: Eric Dixon. Now look, I know all eyes are on the big moves, the trade talks, the rotations, but when we zoom in a bit closer to the edges of the roster, those final two-way deals, those training camp invites that don't seem like a big deal at first glance, that's where things can get interesting. And right now, Dixon is looking like a guy that could very well end up taking that last two-way spot. Maybe not the flashiest name, but one that could matter way more than people expect. If we're being real here, Dixon probably has the edge. He's one of the more NBA-ready players from that undrafted group. And when you talk about pure scoring ability, just a natural bucket getter, he might actually be the best of the bunch. We didn't see him in Summer League because of that mysterious injury, which nobody seemed to know about until he was spotted in a walking boot. But now that he's in camp, clearly healthy enough to compete, there's a legitimate chance he walks out of this with a deal. Now, personally, I'm still high on Arthur Kaluma. I love that prototype of long, switchable wings who can defend and space the floor. The kind of guys who can grow next to someone like Luka Doncic if we're looking years down the line. Imagine a rotation built around Kaluma, Adembona, and Luka, maybe even DeAndre Ayton in that mix. That's the kind of core with size, athleticism, and defensive upside. But back to Dixon. While he may not fit that exact mold, what he brings to the table can't be ignored. Scoring, confidence, experience. Those are three things Dixon brings in spades. This dude led the nation in scoring last season. 23 points per game. That's not a typo. And the way he gets those points? 3 levels. He can knock down the three, work in the mid-range, and muscle his way to buckets inside. He's not just jacking up shots either, he's efficient. Shot over 40% from deep on serious volume in college. That's not nothing, especially for a guy playing a frontcourt role. He's listed at 6'8", somewhere around 255 to 260 pounds. So we're talking about a guy built to bang down low, but who can step out and stretch the floor too. He's got the kind of frame that lets him play small ball center in a pinch, but he's more naturally suited for the four. He's got that Julius Randle early career vibe, but with a bit more polish to his offensive game. Maybe not the same explosive athlete, but a more refined scorer. You could even argue he's a more skilled offensive player than Randle was when the Lakers drafted him with the 7th pick. Now look, we're not saying Eric Dixon is about to come in and start lighting up NBA defenses every night. But in the right role, off the bench, playing 10 to 15 minutes a night, he could give this Lakers team something it seriously lacked last year: bench scoring. That second unit struggled to put points on the board consistently, and Dixon is a guy who could help shift that dynamic. That's the thing. Not every addition has to be a star. Sometimes you just need someone who can come in, not mess things up, and knock down shots. That's where Dixon shines. Catch and shoot, he can do that. Post up a smaller defender, done. Trail 3 in transition, he's comfortable there too. Off the dribble, not afraid. He's not the guy you build a game plan around, but he's definitely someone you can plug into certain spots and trust him to get buckets. And let's talk about age for a second, because some people act like being 24 is a knock. If anything, that might be one of his biggest advantages. The Lakers have found real value in more mature rookies and young vets over the past few years. Guys who've stayed in college, developed their game, faced different defensive looks. They come into the league with a certain poise. They're not overwhelmed by the pace. Dixon fits that mold perfectly. He's battle-tested, and he knows what his game is. He's not trying to do too much, and that's key when you're fighting for minutes on a contender. His shooting splits last year were actually really solid across the board. Just under 35 minutes a game, shooting over 45% from the field overall. From deep, over 40% on more than 7 attempts per game. That kind of volume and efficiency from forward is rare in college, especially for a guy shouldering the offensive load the way Dixon did. From the line, he was rock solid too, 81% on over 6 free throw attempts per game. That tells you he's not just settling for jumpers. He's getting downhill, drawing contact, getting to the stripe. That's the kind of aggression you love to see in a bench scorer. Now, defensively, that's where the questions start. And that's fair. He's not the quickest laterally. Probably not going to stay in front of elite wings on an island. That's why you're probably not seeing him get minutes at the 3, even though his size might suggest some versatility. He's more of a 4, maybe a small ball 5 in certain matchups. And that's where the Lakers would need to protect him a bit. Kind of like what they do with Rui Hachimura. Rui isn't exactly a lockdown guy either, but the Lakers have found ways to use his strengths while hiding his weaknesses. Dixon could fit a similar role. Give him spot minutes, simplified defensive assignments, and let him focus on doing what he does best, getting buckets. And honestly, that might be enough, especially if the Lakers pull off a trade, like the Andrew Wiggins move that's been floating around. If that happens, you might need to fill a spot on the cheap. And that's where Dixon becomes more than just a cam body. He becomes a real option. You already know what he is, a guy who can step in, hit shots, and hold his own physically. In a roster where your top 8 or 9 guys are set, Dixon could slide in as a low-cost, low-risk, high-upside piece. Even if he starts out on a two-way, there's value there. You give him some reps in the G League, keep him around the main team, let him get comfortable with the system, and when the opportunity arises, injuries, load management, a blowout game, you throw him in. And don't be shocked if on a random Tuesday night, Eric Dixon puts up 25 points out of nowhere. He's that kind of scorer. If the jumper is falling, he can go off. Every team needs that kind of wild card in their back pocket. It's also worth noting that this isn't just about upside. Dixon's floor is pretty high. He's not going to come in and look lost. He's been through enough college battles, seen enough defensive coverages that he knows how to get to his spots. Even if the athleticism doesn't pop, the fundamentals are there. The footwork, the timing, the feel for the game. All that stuff shows up when you're looking at a guy who can potentially give you bench minutes without being a defensive liability or an offensive black hole. And you can already see the outline of how he fits with this current Lakers roster. With players like Bronny James, Christian Koku, maybe even Arthur Kaluma as the other two-way options, Dixon brings something different. Those guys are more raw, more about potential. Dixon? He's ready now. You could throw him into an NBA game tomorrow, and he wouldn't look out of place. That's valuable, especially for a team with championship aspirations. Sometimes, you don't need another project. You need a guy who can come in and just give you 10 solid minutes and 8 quick points. That might sound small, but that's the kind of contribution that wins you games in February, when everyone's tired and half the roster is on load management. Let's keep digging into why Eric Dixon might be more than just a camp name. Because the more you peel back the layers of his game, the more it feels like he checks a lot of boxes for a Lakers team that's still looking to solidify the back end of its rotation. Sure, we've talked about the scoring, the shooting splits, the frame, but there's also an intangible side to this guy that could give him the edge over some of the younger, less polished prospect trying to make the roster. He's got that steady, professional approach to the game that coaches love. He doesn't force things, he plays within himself, and when you have players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis anchoring your core, you don't need someone trying to do too much. You need someone who understands their role and can execute it when called upon. Dixon fits that description almost perfectly. There's also the fact that he's coming off a season where he carried a heavy offensive load. Playing over 34 minutes a game and still maintaining efficiency on that level of volume isn't easy, especially when every opposing defense is keying in on you. That experience, being the focal point, being the guy who has to create his own shot and still be efficient, that matters. It means he's had to face double teams, had to make quick decisions under pressure, had to find ways to be effective even when the defense is loaded against him. You throw him into a limited NBA role where he doesn't have that same attention on him, and suddenly the game might feel a lot easier. That's the benefit of having been the guy in college. When you transition into being a role player, things slow down. And honestly, the Lakers are in a bit of a unique position when it comes to filling out the rest of their roster. They've got their stars. They've got some key rotation guys. But once you get past that 7th or 8th man, it becomes a question of who can give you positive minutes without hurting your overall flow. That's where a player like Dixon becomes a real option. He's got the build and game to survive physically. He's shown he can hit shots, and he's smart enough to not get lost in the team concept. If you're Frank Vogel or whoever's drawing up those rotations, you're thinking about fit just as much as talent. You need guys who understand spacing, timing, floor balance, not just guys who can jump high and shoot threes in an empty gym. There's also the question of whether or not someone like Dixon could make other pieces more expendable. We mentioned Rui Hachimura earlier, and it's a fair comparison. Both guys are similar in size. Both have that hybrid forward role, and both thrive as mid-range scorers with the ability to stretch the floor. The difference? Rui is going to cost you real money, and Dixon's on a two-way or minimum level deal. If Dixon starts to show flashes of being able to do a fraction of what Rui does, especially if he looks confident in that catch-and-shoot role, then it opens up some options. Maybe it allows the Lakers to shop Rui in a potential Andrew Wiggins trade. Maybe it gives them some insurance if someone gets hurt. Either way, it's about flexibility, and players like Dixon provide that without breaking the bank. But let's not jump too far ahead. Nothing's guaranteed. For all his scoring, Dixon still has to prove he can defend well enough to stay on the floor. That's going to be the big test in training camp and preseason. Can he hold his own in pick-and-roll situations? Can he make the right reads defensively? Can he rotate quickly and close out without fouling? If he can just be average defensively, that might be enough because the offense is already there. And on a team that has strong defensive anchors in Davis and even guys like Jared Vanderbilt or Gabe Vincent, you can afford to hide a less-than-elite defender, as long as they're not a liability. And then there's the chemistry aspect, which people don't talk about enough. Word is the Lakers were really high on Dixon throughout the pre-draft process, and Dixon himself was excited about the possibility of joining this team. That mutual interest counts for something. When a player wants to be part of an organization, and that organization believes in him, the path to opportunity is a lot clearer. We've seen it before. Those are the kinds of players who stick around longer than expected, who get that unexpected start mid-season, who suddenly become part of your playoff rotation when the lights get bright. Sometimes, all it takes is a couple good weeks in October to change a guy's entire trajectory. And let's talk about that two-way spot for a second. Because if Dixon doesn't crack the main roster right away, he's probably a lock to get that final two-way. And that's not a bad place to be. The Lakers have used their two-way deals creatively in recent years, giving real opportunity to guys who earned it. If Dixon impresses early in the season, that two-way could turn into a standard contract quickly. And unlike some other fringe guys who might need years of development, Dixon's already built to contribute in short bursts. He's ready now. That's what separates him. The real question is how he'll look once the lights come on. Because training camp and preseason are where reputations are made. You can look great in workouts, but if you're getting blown by on defense or missing open shots in front of the coaching staff, it's a wrap. But if Dixon comes in with that chip on his shoulder, if he shows that he can defend at an acceptable level and keeps hitting shots the way he did in college, there's going to be a place for him. Especially if injuries start to pile up, and we know they always do at some point. The Lakers will need reinforcements who can step in and contribute. Dixon is built for that. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the NBA world is buzzing with one of the most shocking potential moves of the season. Sources close to the situation suggest that Kawhi Leonard, the star forward currently with the Los Angeles Clippers, has reportedly accepted an offer from the city's crosstown rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers. If true, this development could send shockwaves through the league and ignite one of the fiercest rivalries in basketball history to an entirely new level. Leonard, known for his ice-cold demeanor and remarkable two-way play, has been a cornerstone for the Clippers, leading the team through high-profile playoff runs. His calm yet lethal presence on the court has been a key factor in LA's basketball landscape, making him one of the most sought-after players in free agency speculation circles. For months, rumors have swirled about his future, with fans and analysts debating whether Leonard would stay with the Clippers or explore other opportunities. Now, whispers indicate that the Lakers' front office has swooped in with an offer that Leonard allegedly accepted, sparking excitement and anxiety among basketball enthusiasts. The Lakers, a team historically defined by superstar talent, would gain a transformative piece with Leonard joining forces alongside their established stars. The potential for instant chemistry and championship contention has already sent social media into a frenzy, with fans dissecting every possible lineup combination and imagining the defensive dominance Leonard could bring to the purple and gold. Meanwhile, Clippers fans are reportedly bracing for heartbreak, as losing a player of Leonard's caliber could alter the team's trajectory and redefine the balance of power in Los Angeles. While nothing is officially confirmed, the rumor alone has ignited intense debate across sports networks and online forums. Analysts are speculating on the financial implications, the fit within the Lakers' current roster, and the psychological impact on both teams. If Leonard's move materializes, it could be remembered as one of the most dramatic intercity player transfers in NBA history, a scenario where loyalty, strategy, and ambition collide in a city already rich with basketball drama. As the Lakers and Clippers continue their preseason preparations, all eyes will remain on Kawhi Leonard, with the basketball world waiting to see if this whispered move becomes reality. The next few weeks could reshape the NBA landscape, and one thing is certain: Los Angeles basketball has never been so electrifying. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.